Hello, everybody. Welcome to Uncommon Analysis. Today, we're going to talk about why Republicans are almost certainly going to hold the House, and not only hold it, but likely win a few seats. Pretty much all the rest of the races have been called. It's now, I don't know, it was Tuesday, today's Sunday, so we're closing in on 5 days. It's 5 days now since the election. And as usual, it takes a while for the House seats to settle in, those results, because there are so many of them. There's 435 races. They've got to count the ballots, etc. And some of them are very tight. So it's not unusual that we still have a few seats left to call at 5 days out, but I'm going to tell you why it's almost certain why the GOP is likely to not only hold the House, but likely to gain seats. And I'm saying that because I'm based on historical patterns. I am not going to dig in the individual numbers of the individual races. That's not the purpose of this video. If you want that, there are people who do very good analysis of that. This is basically to point out a historical pattern in presidential year politics in the United States of America that should be common knowledge, and the media should be telling you this, and the punditry should be telling you about. Yet every year, especially in election year, because this is election year only pattern, this is not an off year pattern, this is an election year only pattern we're going to talk about here, but it is a consistent pattern going all the way back to 1900. Probably goes back further than that, but I personally have not validated the information before that. But since 1900, I can tell you this: since 1900, the party that wins the presidential popular vote has a 90%, give or take, likelihood of gaining seats in the House. Okay, let me repeat that. The party that wins the national popular vote in a presidential election year has a 90% chance of gaining seats in the House. So, based on that and that alone, the odds are, based on Trump winning and winning pretty solidly the popular vote, that the Republicans will not only hold the current number of seats that they have in the House, but they're likely going to gain some. So let's go through those six examples. There's six times this pattern has, the counterexample has happened since 1900. Two of them are some pretty big exceptions. They had some pretty big caveats and asterisks around the results. So let's go through them all. The first one, of course, being 2020, where Gore won the popular vote, but Republicans gained 13 seats. Before that, you have to go to 1992. 1992, Clinton won the popular vote, but Republicans gained 9 seats. Now, 1992 is one of those asterisk elections because in 1992, while Bill Clinton did win the popular vote, he only did it by a plurality of only 43%. So you can't, this is definitely outside the norms. He only won 40% of the actual popular vote, even though he did win the popular vote. And Democrats lost seats. So I consider that an asterisk. In 1988, you had George H.W. Bush win in a pretty solid victory, but Democrats gained seats. 1960, this is another one of those asterisk elections. You had a Democrat win the popular vote for presidency in Kennedy, but Republicans gained 22 seats. And if you go look at 1960, it's not that hard to understand why I put an asterisk by this, because Kennedy's victory was by 0.17% of the popular vote. And I'm not going to get into all the allegations of malfeasance and stuff that came out of that election, how Joe Kennedy has been rumored and reported to have basically used lots of different ways to win that election with malfeasance against Richard Nixon. So we're going to leave that aside. But anyways, another one that did happen, but it gets an asterisk because it was just so close. In 1956, you had Eisenhower win as a Republican, but Democrats gained 2 seats. In 1916, you had Wilson win re-election as a Democrat, but Republicans gained 19 seats. And in 1908, you had Taft as a Republican win the presidency, and Democrats gained 5 seats in the House. So if you throw away those two asterisks we talked about, you have 4 times where the popular vote winner was significant and the opposing party gained seats in the House. So out of 30 elections, that's not quite 90%, but I'm going to call it 90%, just to round numbers up. So you have about a 90% chance. So in this election, we're sitting at, before the election, this was the breakdown of the House. Republicans have 220 seats, Democrats have 212. Because Trump won the popular vote and won it pretty handily, it is all but certain, well, I shouldn't say all but certain, it is very highly likely that Republicans are not only going to hold the House, they're going to reach this 218 and win, they're likely going to get to 220 where they currently are, and they're likely going to gain a few seats. All right, there are about, let me do my math real quick. I think there's 17 seats in this map left to be called based on this pattern here. So the odds are pretty good that Republicans are going to win more than 7 of them. So if you want to go in details of individual races, I'm sure there's other people who do that kind of analysis here, but for me, that's all I wanted to talk about. Odds have been, since it was obvious Trump won the vote, that it was around 90% chance that the Republicans were going to not only hold the House, but gain seats based on this historical pattern. So again, pundits never talk about this. Media reporters never talk about this. I don't know why. It's a consistent pattern in politics. It should be known to most people. Yes, you never know the results till you count the races, but this pattern is out there and you should be aware of it. So anyway, have a great day, and I'm out.